I will show you how to organize all the information you collect in Citavi. You probably know Citavi is a reference management program like EndNote, Zotero, Mendeley, others. There are others as well, but Citavi gives you an additional edge, because in Citavi you can collect and sort and organize all the information you gather while you read your text. So you can analyze them and prepare the outline of the paper or of the publication you want to write. So Citavi gives you a superior control over all the different bits of information you collect during reading, so you don't have to keep everything in memory. Okay, so I will jump all the bits how to get titles into Citavi. I'll open my project here in the welcome screen, and then I will show you what you can do. I'll first show you how to extract information in Citavi, what information you can create and extract. Okay, different screen. Here we go. So this is my Citavi project. This is a title I selected. This is the information, and this is the full text. And to make it a little bit easier, let me close this one. So this is bigger now. This is a publication I want to use, and now we will go through the different bits and pieces. Now, what can you actually do with Citavi? There's highlights, yellow highlight and red highlight. So if you find an interesting bit that you want to highlight, you can simply create a yellow highlight like this. A red highlight, as you can see, is different. A red highlight not only creates a highlight in the text, but it creates a knowledge item that is a different bit of information, separate bit of information that you can later sort and access directly in Word while you're writing. So the yellow is nice, but the yellow is like a highlighter. If you have a paper, a text in paper, and you highlight with the yellow highlighter, you have to actually take the paper from the folder and look at it to see what you had highlighted. And the yellow highlight is exactly the same thing. You have to open the PDF document here in Citavi, look at it to see if there is a yellow highlight or not. A red highlight is also a highlight, but it creates the knowledge item. That's the added advantage. Okay, what else do we have? Just here, I highlight the sentence, and now I can create a direct quotation. As you can see, the page number is automatically extracted. Citavi found it. This is page 107, so this is page 106. If it is not automatically extracted, you insert it manually for the first item you extract, for the first knowledge item you create from a paper, and then the subsequent elements you create will look at the first element and then calculate the correct number. So sometimes PDF documents, they're complicated. Sometimes it's not possible to extract the page number. Won't go into the technical details. In that case, you simply add it here, and Citavi will take it from the knowledge item that has got a page number added. Okay, so this is a direct quotation. It is blue compared to the red one here. Blue means direct quotation, and it copies the text that is highlighted into this field. So that means that it is copied. You can directly quote this, this quotation in Word later on. Don't have to type it again, don't have to copy it. You create a direct quotation and Citavi takes the text. Okay, let's go on. And what else do we have? I create here a different highlight. And now there's different bits as well. There's here the indirect quotation. There is the summary and a comment. Let's do an indirect quotation. So let me open this one. Then you can see what it looks like with the field name. So this is the core statement. The core statement is automatically created from the first 6 or 7 words. You can, of course, change the core statement, and I suggest you do that too, because the core statement is the only thing you can see when the element is closed, as you can see here, but also in Word. If you open the knowledge organizer in Word, all you can see first, before you click on it, you can see is the core statement. So look at the content of what you want to access or what you want to retain. Look at it and then formulate it in your head, and then write the sentence or the words that you come up with. That's the first advantage. The only thing you see at first is the core statement. So the first 6, 7 words might not make that much sense. So you think of a good summary, a good short, catchy summary. That's the first advantage. The second advantage is before Citavi was invented, people used to write the information they found in books on index cards. And they did it by hand normally. So this process, the hand-brain axis, the connection, and the writing with the hand assured that somehow the brain remembered. It was stored in the brain in the process of writing. Copy and paste does not work like that at all. Copy and paste is too fast. The brain does not keep track. And you end up in the end copying things that you might later on not remember. So if you look at the content and then you formulate the content in your own words and put that into the core statement, chances are that your brain remembers, right? So that's the second advantage to use to reformulate the core statement. The text here is empty, of course, because an indirect quotation means the content of the original author in your own words. So you have to write here, this is the content in my own words. So I'm simulating this, right? And it is retained here, and I can copy this as well into Word. We will see that later, how that works. Okay, so direct quotation, read summary, indirect quotation. What else do we have? Summary. Summary you would use for a whole paragraph or a longer passage, maybe a whole chapter. And basically, technically, it is the same as an indirect quotation. It is something the author wrote that you repeat in your own words. And whereas the indirect quotation, the ratio between how long the text is that the author wrote and your own text is 1:1, 1:2, maybe 1:3, whereas the summary is a lot different, right? because the author wrote a whole paragraph and you summarize it in 2 phrases. But other than that, technically, it's also a type of indirect quotation. So same happens here. If I create an indirect quotation, a summary, the text is not copied, you summarize it yourself. Now, what else do we have? We have the comment. Comment, same thing. It is empty here. This one is yellow or orange. A comment is not, technically speaking, a quotation. That is something you comment on, you want to refer to in your own paper or in your text, and you refer to this text, but you write is your own. But of course, you have to say where you got it from, what you are referring to. This is not, whereas if you get it wrong with the first types, with indirect quotation, you might, if you leave out where you got it from, that's plagiarism, right? Not good. If you comment on something, that's not plagiarism, but you have to say, of course, exactly to what text and what page in this text you are referring to if you comment on it. So it is a different type of knowledge item, but still here you keep it and you store them here. Okay, I go on. What else do we have? We have them all here, but let me go back a little bit. This is, let me make it a bit smaller. An image, and images are dealt with the snapshot tool. So you can copy this image and create an image quotation. And it is stored in Citavi, high res. And you can then later use this and insert it in your own text. And also it says where you got it from exactly. So this is also safe. Okay. Now I go on and I read something here, and I'm not sure if this is correct. And if I work in a team with other people, I can create a task, or for myself, examine and assess, or discuss. Examine and assess, and I create a task here, and the tasks, examine and assess, and I can add a note to it. Is this really true? And I could now, if I work in a team, assign this task to somebody else. So while I read, I write down and said, okay, I have to look at this more closely, if this is really, if these figures are correct or not. Or I can invite somebody else that's on my team and ask them to assess it. So that's another possibility here with the task manager to, while I read, directly analyze or report and create tasks so the text will be really, truly and thoroughly understood. Now, this is how to add knowledge items, extract knowledge items, extract text items and create knowledge items in Citavi. Now, what happens while I'm reading? All of a sudden, I have an idea. I read what the authors have written, and all of a sudden, this is an idea for my own publication, for my thesis, and I click on this light bulb. And I have this fantastic idea that I want to use later. And this idea is now stored. It does not appear here in the quotations because the idea is mine. It's not a comment. It does not refer to this text. It's something that all of a sudden came out of the blue, had this idea, I stored it, and I have it. We'll find it later in the knowledge organizer, but this allows me to quickly add ideas, something flash of light I had, and I can add it to my Citavi project. I will not forget it. In any place I am, even somewhere else, this thought button is here to click on and to then quickly write down ideas. Okay. Let me quickly explain to you how these knowledge items work. They are layers, which means if I open a copy in Acrobat, these layers, the colors, will not be there. This is just, it's like transparent slides put on top of the text. So the text is not touched, the original text is not touched, but the knowledge items are located exactly on top of the text, and they can be used then in Citavi. I suggest that you have a look at this document here, Analyzing PDFs with Citavi 6, which explains everything, the highlight yellow, the red highlight, blue, purple, green, orange. So all these things, special cases, saving image quotations, and so on, many more things we can't go into are explained here on 23 pages, very detailed and very clear. You find this document in citavi.com/PDF guide. So easy to remember, citavi.com/PDF-guide. And you will find here this document that will help you to use to maximum benefit these features in Citavi. Okay, Torgrim, are there any questions so far?
Hi, Patrick. Yes, I can look through. If I want to simultaneously read 2 or 3 PDFs or papers and add annotations, can I do that with Citavi?
Okay. Yes, you can actually. Well, I think that's quite normal that you read a text and then you read another text and you want to go back to the first text. Now, if you use Citavi like this, you jump and you see the PDF in the right-hand window, and then you go back, this one disappears, and you see the other one. That's not really that convenient. So what you can do is you can open this file in full text mode, in full screen mode, as you can see here. So this is only the right-hand column, nothing else, and you can scroll through it. Now, if I go, let me see this one. Yeah, if I open this one, you can see the other one disappears. So I only have one open, but there is a way to have 2 or more open at the same time. I go back to my first text and I hit the Shift key and then this button, F11, Shift, F11, and now I have one here and the other one here. And you can see I have both PDF files open at the same time. Shift F11 or Shift and this button up there on top. And now if I have several screens, as many people have, you can easily have one PDF file on one screen and read it, and the other one on the other screen. Of course, in this mode as well, you can here highlight text and directly create quotations, and they will show up in a different separate window, and then you click OK, and you got them.
Thank you, Patrick. That was a nice shortcut to know.
Okay, so this is how to analyze PDF files. Now imagine you have read a dozen articles, and now you want to look at what you have collected actually. Now before Citavi, before the invention of Citavi, this was done, as I said, with index cards. So you had a whole bunch of index cards that you then put on a table and looked at what you actually had, what you had collected. We will do that in a minute, but first I would like to explain something to you, and we will open here one of these elements, one of these knowledge items. Let me open it in a different separate window. Now, what you can do is, for every of these elements, for every item, you can add keywords to this element, categories, and groups. Now, what are these keywords, categories, and groups? I think it's good to know what they're used for. Keywords refer to the content of a publication. So, what does the publication speak about? And allows you to search thematically in the titles or in the knowledge items of your database. So if you add keywords that you had, of course, created, or that you are creating on the fly, if you add them to the knowledge items or to the titles, you can search by content, by thematically in your database. Groups can be used for several things. For example, for group bibliographies, like if you want the printed and electronic, or primary and secondary sources. If you want to group bibliographies, you can use these groups, or you can use groups for reading lists or to-do lists or something else. Anything really that comes to mind that you want to collect things. It's like a box, and you put things into this box, and whatever you want to do, whatever the purpose is, you decide, and you create a group and you put these elements into the group. Categories can be used to develop a classification. So hierarchical keywords, because keywords are not hierarchical. Categories can be used to create, as I said, a classification, or to create the outline of the text that you are writing. That is basically the table of contents of your dissertation. Or you can use the categories for both. You can have both a classification and table of contents. Now, why would you want to do that? The categories, let me open the system of categories I have here, and you will immediately see introduction, definitions, cases, countermeasures, and in the end, conclusion. This is the table of contents of my text, of my publication, of my dissertation that I'm creating. And while I collect information, while I read things, I can already start to create the outline in Citavi. And this can very easily be then exported to Word. So while I collect, I already think about how my publication will be, what chapters I will have, what information I will have there. And instead of writing that down in Word or trying to remember or putting on a sheet of paper, I can directly create categories in German, in Citavi. Create the categories, and I can move them around then very easily. This one, say, okay, this one goes down one level and it's down. I can simply shift them around. I can delete them as well. So the categories, I can create a new category here, and this is the new category. So it's very easy, very simple, and I can play around with them. I say, okay, definitions, I want them after the cases. And I put them here, and they're down. I say, oh, no, it doesn't make sense. They have to go up to the cases, before the cases. So it's just very quick, very easy to move around the categories, develop my outline before I actually start writing. And what I can do now is, here, this says assign categories. I assign this category. And as you can see here in the categories, I now have the category countermeasures assigned to this knowledge item. And I can type here, and you can see then I get the list of elements to select from. So I can assign several categories to the same item. Okay. And in this way, I can develop the outline of my dissertation very easily, very quickly. Okay. Are there any other questions, Torgrim?
Yes, let me have a look at the questions. I think we just answered one about Citavi and Note and Mendeley. Let me see. I want to write more than one paper plus my dissertation, but I want to use only one Citavi project. How can I use the categories to create an outline for both papers and dissertation?
Okay, I think that's actually quite common. While you write your dissertation, you already publish parts of it. Now, how could you do that? Okay, let's look at the categories. We have them here. This is the category tree. Now, I want to write a paper on a part of my dissertation. This is my dissertation. Now I go top and create a new category, and I call it dissertation, which I move then up, and I move the subcategories under dissertation. And you can see they all go below dissertation. And now I have just one main tree, and I create another, and that's my paper one. And here in this paper one, I create a subcategory, introduction, and so forth. You see, this way I can have several publications within the same Citavi project. And I can use them at the same time. Okay. Now, if I already have chapters in a Word document, I can import them into Citavi. That's also easy to do. But let's look how to sort the knowledge items in the knowledge organizer. Now I go here to the knowledge organizer, and here I find all the knowledge items, 91 knowledge items in all together in my list. They're sorted alphabetically. The ones that have not been categorized yet are here. You can see these are new. I will not forget them because they are in this subheading, no categories. And here is my dissertation. And now my fantastic idea, I want to use this fantastic idea in here, countermeasures. And let's grab this indirect quotation as well, move it here, this comment. Our comment is actually empty. My comment, better. Okay, and now I move this comment also here in this chapter, and we also had an image. It's not the one I created. Let me see. No, that's one here, and I move that also into countermeasures. Now I go into this chapter, and you can see they're in the order in which I drag them into the chapter. And I say, no, I want to start with my idea. Then comes the indirect quotation, which refers to the image, and then the direct quotation and my comment. So I can already think how I might want to argue. And if I highlight them, I can already, in a very basic way, see, okay, how the text will flow, if this makes sense or not, or if I need something else in between, some more things. But I can already prepare, so to speak, put the index card in the order in which I'm going to eventually use them and develop them. So I'll be much quicker when it actually comes to the writing process. Okay, we've dragged them. Okay, and now let's say we have we've read everything, we have prepared everything, we have moved everything and thought it through, and now we want to go into Word and start actually studying. And I take my Word document. Here we go. The open project. I connect it via the Citavi add-in with my document. And now I want to start from scratch. As you can see here, these are the references. These are the knowledge items. Chapters and citations is still empty because I haven't inserted anything. Now what I want to do is I want to insert the headings. And I go insert categories and knowledge items. I untick the include knowledge items and only insert the subcategories from the current category, because dissertation, I don't want to insert the first chapter dissertation because it's not a chapter, that's the document. So I only insert the subcategories. And as you can see, here are all the chapters. Now, in this specific case, now I have complicated this stuff. I have created this subheading, this root heading dissertation. What I need to do is highlight everything. And now I want to, let me see, I think it's here in the view outline. Then I move everything one level up. Now it's on the first level. As you can see, if I hit it, it's heading 1. And now let me again highlight it. And now I want to add here numbers. And now I have heading 1, heading 2, and so forth. And now if I go into the first chapter now, I find the references that have been categorized and the knowledge items that have been categorized right here. Countermeasures, and I find here the knowledge items as I have put them in the order, and I can now, with a double click, insert the elements into my text. Indirect quotations here with the source behind it, and the elements that are inserted are ticked. So I'll remember, okay, I have used that one already, and this one, I think, doesn't go well here. I leave it out for the moment. I will not forget it because it's not ticked. The other ones are ticked. Okay, so this is the way to do it if I start writing from scratch and insert the elements then for every chapter that I want to work with. That's one way. Let me delete everything and show you how to insert everything at the same time, creating an outline, including the knowledge items. And now Citavi exports everything into my document, and it creates an outline, a draft version. Of course, this is not the finished paper. For goodness sake, do not hand in something like that. This is maybe 25% of the work done, but still, some people prefer to work with text that is already there. And here you get all the knowledge items that you had created in Citavi in the order in which you had put them in Citavi, and they're exported into Word, and that allows you to directly work with the text. As you can see here, the source is always there, so you'll never forget where you got something from. And if you go to the bottom, you have the publication bibliography, in this case, the Citavi default style. You can, of course, change the style and use another one. That's no problem at all. Here in the Citavi pane, excuse me, you have the citation style and you select APA 7 in English. And then it is reformatted both the element in the text and as you can see here, and now it says references, because in APA 7 it's called references, not publication bibliography. And it is formatted according to APA.
Sorry, Patrick.
Yes.
I think we have a question related to what you're demonstrating now.
Yes,
So,
please.
here's a question from the attendees. Are the categories linked to the chapters in Word? What happens if I change a category in Citavi after having inserted it into Word?
Okay. So this is causes of food fraud, right? And now I might want to call it differently because I realize that I have to give it a different name. Causes of food fraud and related matter. Okay, if I go back to Citavi, here you can see it is not changed because this is an export, what we do here. When you are writing in Word, you export everything. You might want to retain what you have. It reflects a different stage, right? And when you are in Word, you're in Word. And then you change the text and you do different things. And that's good. And you should do that. But it does not have to go back to Citavi, or if you change the text here in Citavi later on, that does not translate and go into Word. They're separate. So that's important to keep in mind. But thanks to bookmarks bookmarks that are inserted, invisible bookmarks that are inserted in Word, you can still have this correspondence. Here it still says causes of food fraud because there is an invisible bookmark here and there, and that still connects it with the category in Citavi. So that's on purpose, that a category that is changed in Word or that is changed in Citavi does not translate, move over to the other side, but they're still connected. So that's important to keep in mind. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for answering that question, Patrick.
You're very welcome. Now, what you can do is also, if you start writing, and this is a so-called Harvard citation style, you might say, no, this is APA, it's not Harvard. Harvard is not a citation style, it's a group of styles, it's a type of style. Harvard means in the text, you get the author name and the year. All Harvard styles have author year. So APA is actually a Harvard style. Now, if you decide, if you realize, oh, I don't want my professor said we shouldn't be doing that. I need footnotes. And you realize that after you have started, when you hand in the first version, first draft to a professor, and he or she says, oh no, we're using footnotes. Okay, you can convert, you can change the citation system and convert in-text citations to footnote citations. And Citavi creates a new document, so you retain the original document, just in case the professor changes idea. So you keep the original, and then Citavi creates, I don't know what it's uploading here. Okay, saving, uploading, whatever. And then in this new document, the fields are converted. And you can see here where we had the footnote, where we had the in-text citation, now we have footnotes. And of course, APA is not a footnote style. So, okay, still uploading, I understand. Should have told OneDrive to keep quiet. Okay. I would then choose a different citation style, a citation style that uses footnotes. Let me see if African Affairs is a footnote style. And then here I have got the footnotes. And if I go at the bottom of the text, I can see here, in this case, African Affairs does not use a bibliography. So there's no bibliography at the end, but I have footnotes wherever it is appropriate. And here you see EBID is even used. That is done by Citavi automatically. Okay. One more thing. Citavi works with Microsoft Word. Never open a document with Citavi fields with another program. It has to be stored in docx format. So do not save this document in doc. If you do that, the fields will be broken because the technology that is used for these fields is only available in docx, not in doc. And never open such a document with LibreOffice or OpenOffice. It will break the fields. So don't do that. Even if you retain the docx format, LibreOffice and OpenOffice will break your document. What you can do, for example, if you want to send a preliminary version of your draft to the editor or to your professor, what you can do is here you can convert the document and save a copy as static text. Static, and now it's again uploading to OneDrive. I create a copy of the text where the fields are gone. This is only plain text. You will see in a moment here, this is not connected to Citavi anymore. Now I can edit, I can do whatever I like, but I keep my original document. It is still there with the fields present, but this now I can edit and I can change stuff. I can add comments and so forth without harm. And that is actually what you should do before you hand in your paper or your dissertation. The last thing, you remove the fields and then send the document off for publication. Okay. Torgrim, if there are any more questions, I'm ready for questions. I'm done.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you for the great demonstration of Citavi. Yeah, we have a few questions here. One is, can I filter the knowledge items which I have marked as important? Or so if it's possible to filter the knowledge items.
In Word or
no, in Citavi.
Okay, let me. In Citavi, you would have to. Okay, let me go back to Citavi. Here, these are the categories. You can create a group, and you call the group important, and then it shows up here. And now I take the elements that I think are important and I move them here, add them to this group, and then they show up in the group. And if I open, you see there's both, there's keywords, categories, and also the groups.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, one last question before we jump to the next webinar. I accidentally deleted my Citavi project, but I still have the Word document. Can I create a new project and extract the data from the Word document? So
yes, you can actually. Yes, that's possible.
The references are still active.
Not here in the document with the fields removed because there's no connection to Citavi anymore. But if I go back and I open my, let's say here, the footnotes document, I go to the Citavi pane, and here in Convert, I can say copy references from the document to the Citavi project. So that's sort of a traveling library. What you copy here is the references. You cannot copy the knowledge items. So just the references, but still, you will get the references, and they are important for the publication in the end. Of course, the fields, they will stay in the Word document, so that's not a problem. And you will get the information, the publication information, the title information back into a new project. Yes.
Okay, yeah, great to know. And then a follow-up question from me. So you said, yeah, you only get the reference data, and that's logic since it only contains the reference data. Is there a feature like in EndNote where you can search for full text articles in Citavi so you can import them directly when you have the reference data?
Yes, there is. Let me go to the references. we have the find full text here. And for the selected references or for all references, and I can download the full text. And here I have the titles, and I say search. And Citavi searches for the full text. And as you can see here, full text is downloaded, and there's other options. URL found for a website with link full text. So the full text itself could not be extracted, but Citavi adds the URL, and then you can get the full text yourself. Or there's, if a URL is already attached to the document, found it again, already exists in Citavi, so leaves it there. Or no full text was found. So these are the different possibilities. And here the full text is downloaded. I say add, and that's it. Then they are added to the references. And you can see if a full text is attached from this symbol.
Yeah, great to know. So basically, export the reference data from the Word document and then run a full text search.
Yes.
So you save a lot of time. Yeah. Yeah, I think I can't see any more questions right now. I think that's it. Thank you again, Patrick, for the great presentations. And we will be seeing you tomorrow also on the German day. So yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.